Hi guys, and welcome back. So for this rock I'm using a red, a yellow, a green, a blue, and a purple. Just use whatever color you have in your collection. You don't have to use the same colors I am using. But if you do want to know, you can just pause the video at this point and you can see all 5 colors. So I'm also using Martha Stewart paint daubers. I have never done this technique before, so I wanted to give it a try. And there's a couple of tips when doing this. For one, you want to use one dauber per color, and then when you're, like I'm using a yellow next to a red, so I'm trying to keep my dauber, like my yellow dauber, I'm trying to keep it oriented the same direction every time I use it. So you're going to be picking up some of that red on the yellow dauber. So in order for your dauber not to just turn orange, you want to make sure that the red side of the dauber always stays to the red side. That's why you'll see I keep kind of looking at the dauber to make sure that I'm not kind of cross-contaminating by rotating the dauber, and now the red is over on the left-hand side. I wanted it to stay on the right-hand side. I hope that makes sense. So you have to do that kind of with all of your colors so you don't muddy up your colors, especially the yellow. The other tip I'll give you is lay down your color and kind of get the stripe down that you want, then worry about blending, because as you're daubing, you're thinning the paint down and it's going to cause it to dry really fast. That's why it doesn't blend so easily. So if you just go ahead and get the color down in the area you want, then worry about going back and blending the 2 neighboring colors. The other tip I'll give you that I learned is not to dab hard. I'm over here demonstrating with my hands like you can see me. You want to do it lightly, because as the paint starts to dry, there's a point there where it will lift off of the rock. So you want to dab gently so that you don't hit that point and start lifting paint off. You're less likely to do that if you're not dabbing so hard. But I thought these dabbers did a fantastic job blending all the colors, especially on a large surface. I don't know how easy they'll be to use on a small area, but for this large rock, I thought they did great. So now I'm taking each of my individual colors, each individual color of the rainbow, let me put it that way, and I'm using a corresponding glitter to go over the rock. So I did red for the red, obviously, champagne for orange, gold for the yellow, green for the green, turquoise for the blue, and then I went over the far edge of the rock for what would be the purple side with purple glitter. Now, a lot of the red and a lot of the purple you're not even going to see because of painting the white sections of the rock, but I wanted to go ahead and just paint the whole rock so that I didn't have to worry that I would have bare spots when I did the white part. This just made it easier just to go ahead and paint the whole rock. The other thing I'll tell you while we're just waiting for this part to get over with, this is a lengthy video and I'm sorry for that, but there's so many layers to this rock, so it just takes some time to to do it. Anyway, the glitter creates a glossy finish, and so when you're going over that with acrylic in the next layers of color, the white and then the black for the lettering, all of that lifts off the rock really easy. So if you make any mistakes, they're easily corrected because of this gloss finish that the glitter creates. And you'll kind of see that, I believe, later on in the video. That's just something to note. So I'm taking a General's charcoal pencil and I'm working out my design. Now, I do offer the traceable for this over on my private Facebook group, Rockin' It with April May. The link is listed below in the description. If you don't have Facebook and you would like the traceable file, just email me. That link is also listed below. I also did a traceable with the word hope instead of love. That I am going to also have posted on Facebook. Again, if you want that, or if you would prefer a complete different word, inspire or, something like that, email me or just contact me somehow and let me know, and I will create the traceable file for that. So if you look at the traceable file versus the rock that I painted, I deviated a little at the end. I think I wish I had stuck to my original design. I normally draw these designs out on my iPad using Procreate, and I work out all the particulars on a digital file. And for some reason, sometimes once I start painting, I forget that I have a plan already in place. And sometimes I will deviate from that. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes I wish I had stuck to my original plan. That happened last week with my butterflies, the glitter butterflies. I didn't have my iPad when I went down to my studio, so I had to just kind of wing it. And I wish I had the original design, because I liked it a lot better. There was just more detail in the original design than there was in my final rock. I love the way the rock turned out, but it was different than my original design. And so I may repaint that and post it over on Facebook and Instagram to show you what the original design was supposed to look like. Again, it was very similar. It just had the butterflies had more detail. So now I'm taking just titanium white and I'm going to paint in the design. And here's where I kind of screwed up, because in the original design there's supposed to be a heart outside the window and one heart on each 4 sides. And so you would need to draw that in and paint around those 4 hearts. And I forgot and just painted outside the window all white. So this is what caused the deviation, I think, from the original design. But whichever one, whether you want to go with the original design or whether you want to go with the final results of this rock, either way, they're both beautiful. So this takes a couple of layers to cover up all of this paint since it's so dark. And again, if you make any mistakes, because the glitter has a gloss finish, it's pretty easy to take this paint off before it really sets up. So you do have a little bit more working time with this. And you'll see if I screw up, I'll take a Q-tip, a damp Q-tip, and kind of scrub at it, and it usually will lift the paint off. And I do have some issues. My hand, this rock for some reason was really painful for me to paint. One, it took a long time, and I got a shot of steroid in my forearm right after I painted this rock. I wish I had waited because the shot alleviates some of the pain. I do have my surgery is scheduled the end of October. We're still not 100% sure exactly what we're going to do. That's why I'm having these series of steroid shots. I already had one in my wrist on my right hand, and now I've had one in the forearm to try to figure out if I have. We know that I have carpal tunnel, severe carpal tunnel in both. Well, severe in my right hand and moderate in my left. But the steroid shot in my wrist should have alleviated all of the pain, and it didn't. So they've gone and given me a shot in my forearm in the radial nerve to see if there's radial nerve damage as well. Tunnel. So depending on, it takes about a month to determine that, which is about how long I have until my surgery. And if the steroid shot alleviates some of the pain, then we'll go ahead and do surgery just on the right arm in both locations. Sorry. Excuse me. If the steroid shot doesn't seem to have any effect, then we're going to do surgery on the carpal tunnel release in the both right and left hand. So see right there, you can see I took that cotton swab and was able to, and I actually didn't want to remove all of that paint. I was just trying to clean up some of my lines and some of the charcoal, and it just took the paint completely off. Which is great if you're wanting to do that, but at that point I wasn't trying to remove the paint, and I was like, oh, this comes off a lot easier than I had anticipated. So here I pulled off most of the cotton off that tip, and I'm using it to clean up those edges. My hands were pretty shaky this day, which is what happens when they hurt really bad. And it's not like I don't know if you've ever dealt with carpal tunnel. It's not like a throbbing pain. It's a nerve pain, which is a complete different monster. And I can almost deal with throbbing pain a lot better than I can nerve pain. And I've been dealing with this for several years, and it just keeps getting worse, and I'm about at my wit's end with it. And that's why I quit painting there for a while. And I'm kind of just suffering through just because I have this like innate need to paint. I start getting kind of, I don't know, I get kind of goofy. Like, I don't know. I need a release, and art and painting and just being creative is kind of my release. Helps me relieve stress and stuff. So I don't know if y'all are like that, or are creative people that way, or is that just me? I don't know. Anyway, so now I'm going in and working out my letter placement, and I'm using this is a why can I not think? A chalk pencil out of a pencil set that I have of chalk. And this works really well. You don't have to use like the charcoal pencils, chalk pencils work really good, and I'm using kind of a light tan color so that I can see it on the white. And now I'm using my black Liquitex Airbrush Paint to do my lettering. That's kind of my go-to for outlining and lettering. And Liquitex Airbrush Paint you have to be kind of careful with too, because it will wipe off pretty easy, because it's a water-based paint as well. So before it really sets up, it removes fairly easy as well. So
I didn't understand that.
Oh gosh, my phone is talking to me. But it's such a true black. That's why I like it, and it's really thin, so it goes on real smooth. But you can see my lettering looks kind of terrible. I have to really do a lot of touch up to it. I'm hoping after the surgery, maybe some of my lining skills will improve. You can see my hands are just very, very, they're always swollen and they're real stiff. I'm losing a lot of my grip due to the carpal tunnel, so it's just been real frustrating. But hopefully I have a good doctor, and I'll be able to paint afterwards. That's the goal anyway. And like I said, I chose the word love. But I will have a traceable file with the word hope on there as well. And you can pretty much do any design you want. Now, in the traceable, there's additional accent hearts within the window. You don't want to paint those yet. You're going to see I'm going to paint those on later. If you paint them on now, depending on what word, if you want to go with your own word, if you're using a traceable, then you can paint them because the lettering is already in the proper places and spacing wise. But if you decide to do your own word and do your own lettering, do these 4 hearts and the grid and leave the other hearts for later, so that you know that your letters aren't going to cover up the hearts, if that makes sense. So see, now I'm going in and putting in the accent hearts within the window, because I know that the lettering's not going to cover it. And like I said, if you're using my traceable, then it'll work. But if you decide to do your own lettering, or not use the traceable, you just want to do this step at this point, after you've already done the love or word, whatever you decide to do. And you just want to place them, where it's kind of balanced. And I did some that are outlined and some that are solid, and different sizes as well. So again, my traceable, I only have 1 heart, and it's like a window. You can see the rainbow behind it, but since I painted over those areas, I'm going in with glitter paint and a dotting tool, and I'm creating hearts. This is a really easy way to create little hearts. Is you just set your dotting tool down and swipe at a diagonal, and then set it down for the other side of the heart and swipe the opposite way to the diagonal to create the... But it's just basically 2 swipes with the tool and it creates a perfect heart. And if you want to see this slowed down, you can manipulate the speed of these videos. And if you don't know how to do it, just Google, or not Google, but do a search within YouTube on how to slow a video down, a YouTube video down, and it'll show you, it'll explain how to do it. But it's usually down in the lower right hand corner. There's little icons down there. If you press one of those icons, will allow you to either slow or speed up the video. So now I went and grabbed like every glitter color that I own and just went to town with all these hearts. And I think I went a little overboard. So I would maybe not do quite as many as I did. I do love the way the rock turned out, but I think maybe more is less in this case. You know, complete personal judgment on that. It's your call. But I also went over the solid hearts within the window. I did go over those with silver glitter. And then continued adding more hearts down outside the window. So anyway, this is how the rock turned out. I hope you liked this video. I hope you'll give this rock a try, and if you do, post it over on my Facebook page or Instagram. I'd love to see how yours turned out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.